live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
One person is dead after the roof collapses at a popular Belvedere venue. The latest information we have from officials about the destruction. The same storm affected communities all across the state line. A look at some of the damage as residents begin to pick up the pieces. And the state of Illinois wants to keep a pandemic-era policy in place. Lawmakers in Springfield consider free school meals. Good evening, I'm Taylor Castro. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're continuing to follow the damage from Friday night's storms. In Belvidere, the Apollo Theater's roof collapsed during severe weather, killing one person. We're told about 260 people, including staff, were at the Apollo for a concert. A tornado warning was issued around 7:25 p.m. Some people were taken to the basement for shelter. By 7:50, people were calling 911 saying the roof of the theater in downtown Belvedere had collapsed. The fire chief says it only took them minutes to get to the scene. They were assisted by over 100 first responders from Boone, Winnebago, and McHenry counties. One person died, and there were another 28 transported to the hospital with various types of injuries. A total of 48 people were treated by area hospitals. Latest word from officials say 24 remain hospitalized.
I just want to thank all the first responders, all the agencies, all the chiefs, everybody that came out last night and did everything they could for all those people in need.
Belvedere State Street is still closed as crews continue to clean up debris. The Apollo Theater posted a statement on their Instagram sharing their condolences and that they are working with officials on how to proceed. Our Nicole Delgado spoke to a woman who was at the Apollo Theater last night. Nicole, what does she have to say?
That's right, Taylor. She tells me that she is in total shock. Her and many others never expected for anything like this to happen.
And all you heard was the rumbling building. You felt it shaking, and you could see the lights just flickering on and off. And next thing you know, you can see the whole building, like the roof behind us is just crumbling down on top of people, and you just hear everyone screaming for help.
Machesney Park resident Trista Stroman went to the Apollo Theater Friday night to celebrate her birthday. Performers just finished a song. Concertgoers were told there was a 30-minute storm break. Trista and her stepdad decided to buy a t-shirt. That's when disaster struck and her worst fear became her reality.
Flashbacks of everything in my life that I was just so grateful to be there for. I just thought that was it. My stepdad yanked me, and I just barely got missed by the balcony by a mere inch. Had he not pulled me when he did, I am afraid that I wouldn't even be here.
Boone County's Emergency Management Director Dan Zachert says there was between 40 and 50 people who self-rescued.
We feel terrible for the people who were hurt. We're very thankful for the people who helped. Some of the concert goers helped, and the first responders that made this better than it could have been.
Trista was lucky enough to only leave with a scratch on her back and a couple of bruises, but she thought she wasn't going to live to see her son or her 22nd birthday. She said it's going to take a while to heal, but she will never forget that night.
Hold your loved ones tight at night and in the mornings. Any chance you get, just make sure you tell them you love them, and make sure you treat your family with love, because you really don't know if you're going to get to come home.
The National Weather Service in Chicago confirmed that the damage was done to the Apollo Theater was caused by a tornado. Taylor?
Thanks, Nicole. The line of storms that impacted Apollo caused other damage in the state line. Let's head to the First Warn Weather Center, where Jordan was tracking the system all day Friday. Jordan, how did the day evolve?
Yeah, well, Taylor, as we were talking yesterday, we did have that initial line of showers and storms that came through earlier into the day, but as that night progressed on, that second round of storms really rolled its way in, and that's what brought some of that more severe line of showers and storms into the area. That's what we see here with a lot of that lightning bringing some of those heavier rains and a lot of that thunder into the area as well. Now, we had many storm reports across the area, all of these individual different storm reports from that system that worked its way through over the last 24 hours. Highlighting a couple of those, that tornado that did end up going through Belvedere started in Davis Junction and was on the ground for around 27 miles, going all the way up into that Belvedere area. A second tornado that was also confirmed was up in Machesney Park, but there was another tornado that was illuminated by a little bit of that lightning, and that was actually saw by a storm spotter. Then Milwaukee radar did have a confirmation that there might have been a tornado on the ground. Unknown damage done at that point from now, but we do have to watch out as we could be seeing that chance for eventually they might release that information on that tornado here soon. Our temperatures yesterday were all the way up into the 70s. We've only been in the 40s today, but Taylor, we have to talk about another system that could bring us once again some severe weather into the middle of the week. I'll have more details on that system coming up a little later.
Thanks, Jordan. The National Weather Service has crews out today to survey the damage all across the state line. They have confirmed 2 EF1 tornadoes, one in Belvedere and one in Machesney Park. We're hearing of several farms destroyed in Stevenson and Ogle counties. There were multiple service calls for gas leaks, an electrical fire, and even an elevator rescue in Belvedere. This is a look at some of the damage in Rockford. The city says they are waiting for agencies to address live wires in the Alpine and Spring Creek area. Residents are out cleaning up debris. There are trees still blocking roads, damage to homes, cars, and roofs.
In times of trouble, when you have situations like this, when people step up and help out their neighbors, says a lot about our city. It is very encouraging to see neighbors stepping up and helping out other neighbors.
ComEd is still reporting outages in state line counties. At least 9 tornadoes were reported in eastern Iowa from yesterday's storms. This twister was in the southeastern part of the state. It was an EF3 tornado, which has winds of 136 to 165 miles per hour. No injuries were reported. The Iowa governor signed a disaster relief proclamation for 12 counties. During the pandemic, federal money helped schools keep students fed, but now that money is going away. The state of Illinois wants to make up the difference. A bill being considered in Springfield would provide more money to help schools offer breakfast and lunch to students for free.
When students are fed and they're not dealing with hunger while at school, they're able to focus more. All of those things build into the success of a student being able to perform academically in school. So, there's a lot that comes from making sure that nutrition is available.
Not all schools would be eligible for the money, only schools that participated in the National School Breakfast Program and the National School Lunch Program. The severe weather system that hit the state line is on the move towards the East Coast. Coming up, a look at the damage in other states across the Midwest and the South from Friday's storms.
And unfortunately, that's not our last chance for severe weather, even in the very short term, with another system working in that could bring us another chance for severe weather on Tuesday. I'll be breaking down that system and letting you know what you need to know coming up.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Taylor Castro, Reagan Holgate, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
At least 11 people have died and dozens hospitalized following a tornado outbreak. The Arkansas governor declaring a state of emergency and activating the National Guard. There's damage reported in over 50 locations across Arkansas, Mississippi, Iowa, and Tennessee, and closer to home here in Illinois and Wisconsin. Jacqueline Lee has more on how residents are dealing with the aftermath.
Residents picking up the pieces after dozens of reported tornadoes tore through the Midwest and South. Homes and businesses destroyed. At this nail salon in Little Rock, Arkansas, employees and patrons taking cover in the back.
It was about 20 to 25 of us. We ran to the back area, closed the door, huddled together, and just prayed for our lives.
Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders declaring a state of emergency to assist state and local law enforcement and visiting this heavily damaged fire station.
I think the real story here isn't the damage that happened, but it's the heroes that were born out of the tragedy. And the fact that we have firefighters who, despite the fact that they had a tornado literally coming through their station, were worried about the community. That tells you who they are.
Further east in Tennessee, journalist Nick Sorter posting these images to social media, saying he thought he was going to die after his vehicle was picked up and tossed off the road. In Belvedere, Illinois, west of Chicago, chaos inside the Apollo Theater.
The roof collapsed at the Apollo. There were people inside, unknown how many injured.
260 people inside. One of them did not survive. Officials say dozens were injured. The storm so powerful, the marquee ripped off the building. Officials say the theater, more than 100 years old, was recently renovated.
When you think about what it means to the city, we would like to have that. That's a landmark. In a way, it's kind of like our brand as well, the city's brand.
That same storm system is moving along the East Coast today with severe weather in Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York.
That was Jacqueline Lee reporting. The spring is off to a strong start. Jordan warns of another potentially severe system working its way in this week in the First Warn weather forecast next.
Now, your First Warn weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It was a very active day yesterday with all the severe weather that we had going on throughout the afternoon and even lasting late into the evening. A very, very active pattern showing up with our storm reports as well. I showed this earlier, but a very, very widespread area of lots of reports of that severe weather. Just to highlight a couple of them, as I've already mentioned, with the couple that we had moved through the area. The first is this tornado that started right around the Davis Junction area. It was on the ground for around 27 miles, going all the way up into the Belvidere area. That's the one that did impact the Apollo Theater. That was on the ground for that entirety of that time, passing just to the southwest of Cherry Valley. Another one was a reported tornado from a storm spotter that was illuminated by lightning near the Caledonia area in about central to northern Boone County. That was also picked up by a tornado debris signature on the Milwaukee radar. That one has not yet been confirmed as far as damage done, and if there are any reports on what the rating of that tornado is from the National Weather Service. But we have those teams that have been on the ground throughout the day today, as we've been mentioning, doing all these surveys and surveying the damage. There's also a couple of pictures of damage that we had in Stewart, Illinois, a grain bin that looks like it was crushed by the wind, and a very large tree that was knocked over. Both of those photos reported or sent in to us from Esther Gosnell. Another tornado that was also near Shannon, Illinois, that's a little bit further out to the west. The National Weather Service in Quad Cities has not yet done a survey on this, but it does appear that there might have been a tornado on the ground during that time from that picture. Here's kind of what it looked like as that storm system rolled its way through into downtown Rockford. As you can see, those clouds rolled in very, very quickly, and it went from a very dark coloring to a lot of that wind blowing our camera around very, very quickly as we got later into the evening. That system very quickly moved around the area, that line of storms impacting a number of areas across the state line. Now, things on the camera downtown are definitely a lot calmer than where they were last night. We still hold on to some of the cloud cover, but a few peaks of sunshine going in there. SkyTrack camera brought to us by Window World. Now, we do have a little bit more of that clearing starting to work its way in on satellite and radar as well. We had some snow showers that worked their way through earlier into the morning today, with some of that colder air wrapping in on the backside of that low pressure system. That colder air cooling our temperatures down quite a bit, but notice out to the west, our temperatures are going to rebound very, very quickly over the next day or so. We're going to be near 60 once again during the day tomorrow, after falling all the way into the 30s for our overnight low, and we sit in the low 40s right now, only 40 degrees at the Rockford Airport. Futurecast continuing to bring a little bit more of those clouds into the area. We rebound quickly into the 50s and even close to 60 degrees tomorrow. And then we have a couple rain showers to talk about for Monday before we have another storm system that could be working its way in. Overnight tonight, temperatures only falling to 28 degrees, a little bit clearer and definitely a little bit calmer as well. Near 60 once again during the day tomorrow. But as I've been mentioning, that next chance for severe weather not too far away at all. A very similar outlook from the Storm Prediction Center already 4 days out, highlighting an area of orange, 30% risk of that severe weather. This is definitely something that you want to watch. A very similar system, no two systems are always the same, but a very similar system could be working its way through just on Tuesday. So something to keep in mind, and make sure you have those weather-ready plans in advance as we get into Tuesday. Our 7-day forecast looking a little bit warmer already, up into the 60s and then 64 degrees on Tuesday. But today we have to watch out for that chance for severe weather and then temperatures cooling off a little bit more for the end of the week.
Thanks, Jordan. Reagan's in next with sports, and it was a rough day on the diamond for both the Sox and the Cubs. Plus, the Ice Hogs are on the brink of another playoff berth. Reagan brings us the postseason outlook next.
Now sports with Reagan Holgate.
We're all set for the women's NCAA title game. Two teams seeking their first ever national championship crown. Caitlin Clark has captured the attention of basketball fans everywhere, and tomorrow she will try and lead the Iowa Hawkeyes to one more. This time they'll have to get past LSU. The Tigers don't have any title experience either. Head coach Kim Mulkey does, though. But to continue her success, her team has to find a way to slow down Clark. She's coming off back-to-back 40-point games, making history as the first woman to ever do that in the NCAA tournament. Both teams looking to cap off an improbable run with the right to call themselves national champions.
I'm really thankful to be in this position more than anything. And like Coach Bluter said, you know, probably everybody in America picks South Carolina, deservedly so. They've been ranked #1 all year. They've won 42 straight basketball games, you know. Why wouldn't you pick them? But at the same time, the people in our locker room believed in us. And that's all you need is a belief in one another, a confidence in one another, you know, and we just do it for the person to our left and our right.
And they will get one more chance tomorrow afternoon. Tip-off between Iowa and LSU is set for 2:30. You can watch that game right here on WTVO. We got more baseball from Wrigley Field today as the Cubs and Brewers met for Game 2 of this series. Let's go to the fourth. Still no score. A line drive to left, but Dansby Swanson with the diving stop and somehow gets it to first for the out. What a defensive play by Swanson. Things remain scoreless. Sixth inning now. Ian Happ hammers this pitch and into the bleachers it goes. That gets the Cubs on the board 1-0. Later in the eighth inning, bases loaded with 2 outs. William Contreras goes the other way. That sends 2 runs in, and the Brewers take the lead. The Brewers hand the Cubs their first loss 3-1. One more between these two tomorrow afternoon. Now to Houston for the third game of this series between the Sox and Astros. Top of the fourth, Sebi Zavala makes the connection, and it goes the distance for the 2-run homer. White Sox lead 3-2. Now to the eighth, Houston up a run. Yordan Alvarez knocks one up the middle, and that brings Gregory Santos in to score. Astros secure their second straight over the Sox, 6-4. Blackhawks captain Jonathan Toews will return to the ice tonight after a 2-month absence. He told reporters earlier this week he wanted to return for the fans and the organization. We'll watch that action from the UC here shortly. The Ice Hogs are still eyeing that playoff spot as the regular season winds down. They've got the Wolves tonight in Rosemont. This is a tough weekend stretch for the Hogs. 3 games in 3 days. They were shut out last night after a weather emergency caused a delay. They've still got some points up for grabs, though. Right now, they sit in 5th in the Central Division with 69 points. They trail the Iowa Wild by 3. But tonight is a new game, another chance to put some points on the board.
We didn't get as much through as we probably should have, but you know, that's their job. They killed the penalty. We're trying to score goals, of course, but it didn't happen tonight. So, you know, I think we should do a little bit better of a job responding after not getting one on there, and just, you know, putting the hard hat back on and trying to draw another penalty for another chance at it.
They'll try for another chance at grabbing some points tonight as they face rival Chicago Wolves for the 11th time this season. Puck drop in Rosemont is at 7 p.m. That's sports. We'll be right back.
After a very active day of weather, things are a lot calmer on the First Warn Interactive Radar from Rockford Auto Glass and more. A couple more chances for some storms into the middle of the week coming in on Tuesday, much warmer for most of next week.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 10.